Hi everybody, welcome to the preview of TerraDome 3. TerraDome 3 is for Daz Studio Iray. It's the third iteration of TerraDome that myself and Traveller have made, and it's by far the best. We have great HDRI skies, we have morphing terrains that when you morph them, the shaders are so incredible that they change with the height. As you're morphing the height of the terrain, the grass stays on the ground and on the top of the rock, and the sides all become rock. And this is just incredible technology that we've been able to utilize in Daz Studio. You're really going to love this version. So why don't you come back with me now, we'll fire it up and show you what it's all about. So here we are, and I've got a blank scene open in Daz Studio. I'm rendering with the live NVIDIA preview mode, so as we can actually see what's happening while we do it. Let me tell you a little bit about TerraDome first of all. TerraDome 3. TerraDome 3 is exclusive to Daz Studio. It's the very first iteration of TerraDome for Daz Studio. Originally, it was released for Poser back in about 2005. That would be TerraDome 1, and it was a huge success. And then about a year and a half ago, we released TerraDome 2 for Poser, which was equally just as great a success. What it does is it allows you to build a complete landscape with morphing terrain, complete sky domes with real sunlight. The materials that go on the terrain, they actually change with the height of the terrain. So for example, if you have a grass plain and you raise the terrain into rock formations, the material itself, as it raises, changes to rocks with grass on top, which is pretty amazing, really. It's pretty amazing technology. There's lots to get through. We have water, we have atmosphere, and there's plenty of utilities to go with it. But let's make a start and go through as much as we can, as quickly as we can, and we'll see where we go from there. Okay, so what I'm first going to do is I'm just going to open TerraDome 3, which you'll find in environments in your Daz 3D library, my Daz 3D library. There are 4 separate elements to TerraDome 3. There's the A zone, the B zone, the atmosphere, and the water. We may be adding some preloads that load them all on at the time of final release. This is not a final release version that I'm using at the moment, so it'll be pretty similar, so you'll be able to follow along just as well. So the A zone is a big round circular mesh that is your main plane of terrain. So if we load that in, what you're going to have is pretty much nothing, first of all. But if we look at the A zone here, it's full of morphs that we can use to generate the landscape. So the next thing we're going to do is load the B zone. Now the B zone is like a half plane, 180 degrees, that goes outside of the A zone, and that allows you to morph in like background mountains and hills, mesas, all sorts of things that are in the distance, which gives you this great aspect, this point of view of being able to have a scene that goes very, very far into your 3D space. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go onto the A zone, and we're going to load in a desert terrain. So if we click the category desert here, we're going to use Canyon Valley 2. We're going to set that at 100%, And yeah, we got some landscape formation going on there. Now we're going to do the same thing with the B zone. We're going to select a desert morph, and we're going to load Mesascape, which will set at 100% as well, and that gives us our background mesas. Now it still doesn't look much, so what we have to do is we have to load on some materials. So if we go into the materials library here in TerraDome 3, we click on terrain, we have so many materials that were created by my co-creator Traveler, who is absolutely incredible at doing this stuff. So first of all, what we're going to do, we've got the A zone selected, we're just going to load on the first one, Badlands 1. So let's just wait a second for that to load up, and there you go. So we have some nice desert terrain material there. So we're going to do exactly the same on the B zone. We're going to use the same material just for simplicity here. I just want to show you how easy everything is. So if we now start rotating our terrain, you can see that it's a full 360 degree landscape, which you can put anything you want in. You can populate it with people, props, vehicles, buildings, all sorts of naturals, grasses, trees. So what we need to do now is we need to load in one of the HDR skies. So well, let's use this nice summer sky here, summer cumulus sky. So these are all render settings. So basically, when you load in your sky, you're loading in your entire render settings. And the sky is rotatable 360 degrees. So as you move the sky dome, you can change the direction of the sunlight. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you this manually quickly. We're going to go into render settings, and we're going to go to the environment tab here, and here we have our HDR sky texture, and in this section here, dome rotation, the domes load at 180 degrees. So if we just say click around here and then see how the light changes, and then we click over here, that's 111 degrees, and this will be 260 degrees. See how the shadows and everything change. So that gives us really, really great lighting. So I'm just going to change that back to 180, and then we're going to go back to the content library tab, and I'm going to select the camera presets. There are 10 camera presets. They kind of mimic, some of them mimic the old poser cameras, which you have the head camera here, the body camera, the full length camera, and there is a half body camera. But what's really nice is we have these kind of cinematic cameras that are wide and ultra wide, which really show off the landscape really well. So let's load in one of these ultra wide camera settings and see how the landscape changes. Now you can really see the detail of the size of the landscape here. So let's just start moving our camera around, and we can get a really good idea of what we have. Don't forget, this is ultra wide, so this is why it's stretching out, just like a real ultra wide lens on a camera would do. So where you have the B zone back here, which is giving us those really cool mesas at the back, if you turn the camera right round to the opposite end of the scene, you're going to notice that you can see the edge of the sky. So what you do is you rotate your B zone all the way around. If this is if you want to use this part of the scene. So let's look at a rotation all the way around to, oh sorry, wrong dial. Bear with me there. It's the Y rotate dial that we'll be using. So let's take that all the way. Oh, now you can just see, there we go. There's part of it coming in now. Okay. So now, if we just let that render for a second, you'll see that the B zone is now on the opposite end of the landscape and it's covering up the edge of the scene. So again, you get that impression that everything just goes on for miles and miles and miles. While we're here, I'd like to just point out the sunlight here. The sunlight is pretty cool. What we have done is we have our HDR image of the sky, but we have treated the sun differently, and with the software that we use, we were able to select the area where the sun is itself and create a specific light on the HDR texture map. So you have your overall ambience coming from the sky, but the actual sun itself is blasting out a massive amount of light, just like the sun would do. And we've used the correct color temperatures and everything to give you like cool light, warm light, sunset light. So it's very, very flexible, and there's lots of other skies coming and being released at the same time in extra packs, just as there are morphs as well. So what I'd like to do now is quickly show you some of the other elements in TerraDome. First of all, we'll start off with the water. This is the water plane here, and we're going to just load that in. Now, something you need to bear in mind is that the water plane loads quite low, and you're going to have to adjust it up, because if we do some preloads and the water plane loads in at 0 on the Y, it's always going to be in an awkward position. So if we select our water plane here and we go to Y translate and we just move it up in our scene, we can see that we'll be able to flood the scene with water. So there you have it. Some really nice water effects going on there. And if you go to the materials libraries here, we have two types of water. We have reflective water, which this is. So this is reflecting the sky and the landscape around it. And we have refractive water. Now, what's really cool about refractive water is that anything that's underneath the water line is affected by the water. It's a volume, so you can actually get inside it, and it's like real water. So that's really cool. It takes a little bit longer to render, but if you're doing something where you want to show like a rocky riverbed or something like that, or a sandy beach underneath the water, that's really, really important and really cool. So what I'd like to do now is just move into the atmosphere. Now, the atmosphere is a volume space, and it's a completely volumetric atmosphere. And what it does is, I'm just going to turn off the water there so that you get a better idea. What it does is it gives a haze in the distance. So what happens is it looks just like reality, where when you look into the distance, the atmosphere of planet Earth is basically causing like a mist-like effect in the distance that makes everything look far away. Now, something you might notice here is that our sun has developed kind of aberration, and this is simple to fix. We have some utilities here that will help us with this. These utilities are underneath your HDR Skies library. It says Sky Utility, and what we're going to do is we're going to increase the intensity of the sunlight, because what happens when you use this volumetric atmosphere is it's actually making the sunlight darker, and that's why you can see this ring. So we've included a load of utility files here that increase the sunlight intensity in increments. So if we start at 0.5 instead of 0, let's just check what our sunlight actually is first. Its intensity. Okay, it's already set at 1.10, so we need to be higher than that. So let's try 1.40. Let's see if that helps. There you go. So now you can see that the sunlight has returned to normal. It's nice and bright. There's no aberration around it like a dark circle in the center. So there you go. And if you look at those mesas in the distance, they're nice and misty. So that fulfills the atmosphere part of TerraDome 3. Traveler has included lots of utilities for changing the terrain. You can turn the displacement on and off. You can make it higher, lower, displacement sub D levels, and tiling. Now tiling is really important in the materials. In order to make these materials in TerraDome work on such a large scale, we couldn't use really huge texture maps, 50 million by 50 million pixels. So what we had to do is tile the textures, or what Traveler had to do was tile all the materials. It's a very complicated process because there's lots of materials going on: normal maps, displacement maps, diffuse maps, and they all need to tile. So sometimes you might need to make that tiling tighter or looser, depending on the kind of scene that you're rendering. If you feel that the tiling is showing in your render, you might need to increase the tiling or decrease it. So if we say move our tiling to the finest setting, I will have to actually select the zone that I want to use, and possibly select the surfaces tab as well. So let's just try that again. There we go. Just give it a second, and see, now it looks much tighter and different. So there's so much you can actually do with these textures just on the fly. So if we go the opposite direction to largest, which may not be suitable for such a wide render, well, there you go. It actually works pretty well. The tiling becomes much more rugged. So that's a really useful utility to have. Now you can also change the displacement on the water and the displacement height of the water, so you can get rougher water or smoother water. That's a really important thing to know. What we also have included to help you guys out when you're starting out and you can actually get a scene going, we've included 10 scenes. These are pretty much all from the promo images that we've been creating for the product, and these will really help get you guys started. So you can just load one of these up and start populating it. Look, there's Mars. There's a really cool lake scene here with snow-capped mountains, and then we have this misty mountain scene. You can really see the effect of the atmosphere there. The same in the Mars one there, where the the mountains in the background are so shrouded in the red Martian mist. This is really incredible that we got this now in Daz Studio, and I really think that you're going to really love it. So there's going to be many more little mini tutorials of how to do little things in TerraDome over the coming weeks. So look out for them. You can check my YouTube channel. You can check my Facebook page, and I'll announce everything as it becomes available. So there's your basis of TerraDome 3. So really go out and, build some worlds and have fun. Thank you. Bye.